No, you sound sexy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's all right. That's my girl right there. I see you. You're gonna go well out there. That's all right. Fuck, man. If I saw this movie in the theater, I'd still fucking walk out. But if I saw this movie on an airplane, you might convince me to stay. This feels silly. It feels silly, and it's felt silly from the beginning. See, the thing is, walking around for a better part of my year so far this year, telling people that I'm running for mayor, never not felt silly. It's never not felt wrong. And I get that, maybe that's the whole point. See, the thing is, back in January, when we started this, it felt like a goof, right? Like, you say to yourself, all right, well, fuck it, I'll go on the radio and tell people that I'm running for mayor, and it'll be funny, and everybody will think it's a... And then nobody thought it was funny because the entire city is so desperate to fix things that even somebody like me is going to be like a bright point in some spectrum of hope. And people will start to take it seriously, and people will start to say, hey, no, this is actually a good idea. We should make this work, and can we make this work, and how do we keep him on the ballot even though he's too fucking stupid to keep up with his own paperwork? How do we keep this guy doing stuff and pushing forward and making social media posts and keeping everybody happy and 800,000 fucking views in the last week and a half? And I don't understand where any of it goes, because you throw something together where you're actually trying to talk to people, and if I saw the movie on a plane, I'd still walk out. See, the problem is every one of us is born with two lives, and the second one starts the minute you only have the realization that there's only one. And there are things that you tell yourself that, hey, you know what? I'm going to make sure this happens. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this part of the story. And the best part about history is you can fix it. You can change it. You can move it around. You can decide what's going to get kept and what doesn't. It all depends on who writes it down, and it all depends on what they write down. The thing about a theater scene is it's a lot like a court scene. You have a iconic moment. You can't handle the truth moment that you tell yourself, like, this is just the spot. This is the penultimate. You can duck out of it from here. Right? We can walk out of the courtroom and we don't have to be these people anymore. We can walk into the courtroom and look good. But we don't have to be these people anymore when it's done. It's a moment. And the thing about a courtroom scene is there really isn't a great record, especially in a small town, paid to that. There's no video cameras there. So you can basically write a courtroom scene any way that you want to. It can be spectacular. It can be that moment. But it didn't stop. It didn't stop with just that. It didn't stop with the It didn't stop when it was supposed to stop. And we walked out of the courtroom and we understood that shit. All of these people are still expecting this to go on. All of these people are waiting to hear some sort of solution. All of these people are waiting to hear some sort of whatever they get to write down next. And so you got to tell them stories. You got to continue playing the part that you decided you were going to be when you gave yourself the assignment at the beginning of the year to become the government. When you gave yourself the job of running for mayor. Because when you decide to do something like that, you throw yourself into this whole other vicious pit of garbage. And look, man, we all have our own special little vicious pits of garbage that we run around in. Like my photography community is a vicious pit of garbage. All right, but it's my vicious pit of garbage, and I love it. These are my people. But then I decided to do this, and now suddenly I'm in like this whole other realm that, and I'll tell you what, man, it's fucking deep. There's a lot. And there's a lot, especially now. Let me explain something, all right? Back when I registered to vote, back when I was in the Navy, back in the early 90s, the only thing I had in my head was being able to vote in primaries. Because around here, there's really nothing to vote for in primaries if you're not a Republican, is there? When you get to decide something is before you even get to decide something, and most of the time when we're allowed to decide something, it's already been decided for us months before. So if you're actually going to run for something in this city, if you really want to make a change, you have to make the change in May before you even get to November. And in an off-year election, in an oddball election, there is only this small amount of time to make that work. And the people that run that are really entrenched. They're wonderful people, absolutely wonderful people, and they will smile right in your face and tell you exactly what. They're wonderful people. But they want to keep their jobs. They're wonderful people that don't want to have to figure out what they have to do next year because they can't do this anymore. And that creates like this stranglehold, especially when power is so easily given. Well, that power is kept just as easily. And there needs to be the idea of chaos. You need to at least believe that chaos can happen. Or else you just lose touch with everything that you're trying to do. You lose touch with the idea of powerlessness. And you leave that to the people that, what was the word you used? Lord it over your fellow man?
Dominion over your fellow man.
Lord, dominion over your fellow man. All that really does is just disconnect people from you. All that really does is just cuts you off from the people that you're trying to help. All that really does is separate you from the people that are voting for you. And when nobody feels connected, nobody wants to be here at all. The reality is that the brilliant students at our schools are putting out of high school, once they leave for college, they're gone. And it's hard to get them to come back because we're not giving them anything to do here. We're not giving them any reason to come back. We're not giving them a home that feels like home. And there's so much else to do everywhere else. There's just so much else to do everywhere else. So much so that places like this have trouble making things work. Places like my place, when I had it, we had a lot of trouble making things work. Because there really just isn't an audience for it. As much as you want to try, you can only pull so much when people don't want to do that. And it just makes it quiet. It makes it simple. It makes it so you don't have to think. Your whole world's on your phone or on your television in front of you, and you don't really have to bother dealing with anything at all. You send out for food, you send out for laundry, so it's so easy to stay and remain disconnected, and none of us are really doing anything about it because all of us really just kind of like it a little bit too. Because sometimes it feels really good to fight with people online, especially when you know you never have to meet them. And when you create situations where you're actually fostering a discussion, when you put it forward to the group, it's hard for people to separate from that. And it makes it hard to want to do things. We create all of these initiatives and programs and special education things for the kids to get the families and the kids out. But what do you do when your kids are gone? What do you do when your kids have left and you don't have these programs to do? And you were a hockey mom for 10 fucking years, running everywhere to keep up with it, and then suddenly that's not a thing anymore. And your city doesn't even think about us. Tomorrow the mayor will go to the debates, knowing that she's going to win again in November, knowing that she had it before she even showed up. And we should be happy that she goes to the debates. We should be happy whenever there's an opportunity, because it's pretty rare these days. I like speaking to people. I like when people speak to me. There's been a lot of pleasure in this campaign because I've actually been able to truly reconnect. To truly actually talk to people and meet people and encourage people on their ways and really try to push to make sure that there's some sort of connection. I've met so many really wonderful people, and it's actually been really a lot of fun. I hope it helped. I know it helped me. There's so much that could be being done. And I feel like it's just easy to not do it. I don't want to just seem like this is a negative thing, because I'm actually really positive about the idea of changing this community. I'm actually really sure that there are good things coming. I know that things are going to work, and we're going to laugh at the idea that it could ever have been questioned in the first place. We're already doing that, aren't we? We're already doing that every day. We sit and we laugh, and it's like, wow, this really just worked. This really just worked. Hi, Mandy. This really just worked, and it worked because it was supposed to. And it's been like that the entire time. Was this petty? Was it me? See, the thing about it is, if it feels like you're fighting the force forward, you're probably not on the right path. And when something doesn't work, it doesn't work because it's supposed to not work. I don't know. And the other thing you have to think about is, the whole other thing that we just did worked really, really well. The tank thing was really pretty cool. That started on a Saturday, and by the next week it was done, and it's gorgeous, and it turned into a whole thing. And that was such a pleasure. That was such a moment, because you actually get to really work with people and really, like, man, that was so cool. So there's good things that can still come with it, even if things don't work. See, the issue is, it's really tough because you really want to be angry sometimes about things. And there's a lot of things that are going on right now that we have every right to really be angry about. And we're being fed that every day. And sometimes to the point where we forget about the things that are actually really important, to be angry about this whole other thing that doesn't make any sense to anybody and it's completely unnecessary. And we forget what we're actually fighting for in the first place. We forget that there are actually really bad things going on that we really should probably be paying attention to, but we also have to know that we can't fix everything. No matter how hard we try. So it's really important to just pick the things that you can truly affect change. You can truly make better. At least be able to figure out the steps. At least be able to figure out the idea of this turns into this, and then better. And if there's a bunch of people working that way, things do get done. The idea is not to become the government. The idea is to not need the government. The idea is to not have to ask the government for anything. Because every time you do, it just gets more complicated. So the thing about it is, I knew from the beginning I was grossly unqualified because we have at least 2 different candidates for mayor that have publicly stated on multiple occasions that God has told them to run for office. And I ain't got that. So, I mean, shit, I was, falling behind before I even got started with this. And I make a joke, and it's a much longer joke, and I'm not going to do it because I feel like it seems disrespectful. Because honestly, they very sincerely believe that that's the path that they're supposed to be on because of their faith. And I don't even want to make a goof about it. But if I did, I'd talk about like how they're just watering the lawn in the backyard and then suddenly the bush catches on fire and starts to talk to them. But I won't do that. I won't do the bit. Because I feel like it's disrespectful. The Pope just died yesterday. I think it's more important to sympathize. But it's really hard when the fight in your head really starts to fuck with you. And it does. When the fight in your head really starts to fuck with you, you start having the fight for them in your head. You start having the fight with them, for them, without them being involved. So you're saying what you think you're cool in saying, and then they're saying whatever you imagine them saying, and suddenly it turns into an argument, and you've walked 3.5 miles and didn't even realize it, but you know exactly what you're ever going to say if you're ever going to see them and be in that position, and you never are. And you wouldn't anyway, because they're good people, and you don't want to hurt their feelings, and you don't want to make fun of their faith. And maybe God did tell him to run for mayor. I don't know. Again, it didn't happen for me. No matter what, no matter how funny the characters are that fall into your universe when you give yourself a whole new job and decide to go do something, understand that all of those people are real people, and you can really still hurt them. Especially the people that are fighting to keep their offices and to keep their power. It feels really easy to scream at someone online. It feels really easy to tell someone that they're a waste of time. I got out of bed this morning. This guy named Bill commented on a damn post on damn Facebook complaining about some damn thing. And you know that feeling when you first pick up your phone, or right when you get out of bed in the morning, and the first thing that you read kind of just completely dictates your entire day, like it just kind of sets you up? I don't know if you're like that, and I really pray that you're not like that. I really hope that, but I'm like that. I'm like that. And it was just some stupid thing, you know. We don't care what you have to say. You're a waste of time. And the "your" that he typed was a Y-O-U-R. Well, he made the show about that. I think that's it, guys. That's worth $5. Thank you so much for being here.